All right, so this is round 4, and we are finally in the losers bracket. You had a good start of the tournament for sure, and I'm sure it'll still work out from here. I don't.
Yeah, essentially 3 wins before a loss because I did get a first round bye.
Mhm.
I was feeling pretty good about going to losers at that point. That was fine for me.
Let's see if you win a die roll. I couldn't see it like that.
Did I win this one?
Nope.
Did I roll? Oh,
And it's
against Blackwings.
all right. Blackwing's
And
again. Here we go.
he's on pure Blackwing, which is worse for me because they run more back row.
Right. Man, main deck Nobleman. This is spicy. This is similar to the list that topped at deck dev. Deck dev, yeah.
Nobleman's gotten really popular lately. Um,
I love it.
yeah, I think Masahiro is also on main deck. I think most
That's
people are
cool.
at this point. I do kind of like
Okay.
main deck my body instead. Kind of torn on those two.
Well, a dupe's always nice. Force a clue, worst case scenario.
Yeah, and I believe he chooses not to collude there, which I think is usually a mistake.
Yeah.
Maybe not against frogs in general, but against my deck, you really just want to out this and getting the free body of a Vayu or whatever, very
Mm-hmm.
good to have.
Get something moving. Because now we're just cruising.
Yeah, so here I gotta force out something. Um, so I go for substitute, aversing everything back play, um, to see what I can get. And I'm gonna do it again. I drew more averses, so I'm just gonna,
Amazing.
plus some
Yeah.
more.
You
Three
got him. Use
pluses.
them. It's not
Yeah,
the
so it's like,
best application, but
opening 7 cards.
yeah.
Also with this hand, right? There's an argument for whether or not to be running Mallet or Moray of Greed. I think a lot of people would choose Moray, and I initially had Moray in. This was a last minute change I made. But if you look at a hand like this, how many cards do I want to shuffle back? It's usually more than two. Um,
I see.
I leave shuffling a mallet back as well. I shuffle three back and draw three, I think. Maybe I shuffle four back. Um, and so you end up being able to get more draws. And most of the cards you want to shuffle back are not the monsters.
Right.
Uh, Having a water to discard for swap is great. You always want a Fishborg. You always want a subcode. You usually want to swap in hand. So Moray doesn't have many good live targets, and if you run more frogs, you run more bricks. And I don't like bricking. I've spent like so much of my time building and editing this deck, cutting out bricks.
I mean, it's definitely proven itself. I still don't quite understand. Yeah, I guess so. Why do you want swap in your hand? Just as a pitch outlet for salvage
So
and for symbol.
yes, especially with symbols. Hands like swap plus Fishborg plus water plus symbols is full combo.
Mm.
Maybe not entire full combo, but it gets you to your sending all the frogs to grave and everything. Because you can send all of your substitutes to grave and then you can symbols it back. And just having that symbols on the field means that you can go straight into Brio whenever you want.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Here we're doing the plus stuff. So you're just digging for Exodius. Okay. So
yeah,
this
so
is.
I let him know here that this is going to be lethal through whatever he has.
Mm.
Uh, this is where I get into the draw loop again. Sometimes, so usually you need to get like your last frog to send with swap out of deck is what your goal is. So you have to know what you've left in there, and I hadn't left any poison draws, so I have to get a dupe the first time.
Right.
So I do it with dupe once to get a frog back to hand
Mm.
just to maintain that advantage,
Okay.
and then I can discard that to go through the loop.
That's exactly what I was gonna ask. So like
Yeah.
starting off with dupe is important.
Yes. Also here, I believe I just do it once to just get extra advantage
Mm.
because of the leader. Having Brio level 5 is very helpful because often you want to end up going into a level 6 or a level 8 off of it.
Yeah.
when you're done with it. There's times that you end up keeping it so that you can make armory arms. But often you end up wanting to shuffle it back. Like if you're going first, you turn it into a Stardust and then shuffle it back into the extra deck so you can use it to break their board.
Right. Yeah, when I was playtesting this, I kept on wanting to make it a level 4, but you kind of stop yourself later down the line. There's a reason why you run Death Frog, and it's because he's level 5.
Yeah, if you make him level 4, you can use him with an extra like level 1 there, but it's not
It doesn't
great.
do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, you end up losing the advantage that you gained earlier.
Right, exactly.
Which, if you're low on cards early, can be worth it, but usually it's just better to not bother. Yeah, so here I'm going through the full combo of stuff. I think I start to make like a stable board with Stardust kind of thing. Because I figure if he does have something, like I don't want to take forever doing this. And the Urakiza's line does take a lot longer. And I'm like, he doesn't have Trag. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
Why would Blackwings run Trag? So I go for making the triple arm with this, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be lethal. I could have dug further and gotten more draws out of it in a better way to recover afterwards, but I'm like, triple arm, Stardust, plus, plus Rio, like, it's hard enough to out.
Yeah, I think that's wise, because that's the thing, is like, if
Actually,
you have it,
that was lethal through Trag, I think.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, Blackwing players open this. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, fun fact, it doesn't really matter that much.
It's actually kind of helpful, because in both cases he didn't have any other real back row. The last game was a torrential, and here it's absolutely nothing.
It's like an extra X amount of damage. Yeah, so, okay, also, from this play, I know that Greffer was his top deck, right? Because he didn't search Vayu off Whirlwind, and he goes for Greffer next, which means that he wasn't expecting to do a Greffer play here. So I know this Greffer is new, which means I know he has no real back row if he sets one.
Oh, okay, excellent, yeah. And that's a juicy Mirror Force.
Yep. So everyone always plays a Mirror Force.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why Whirlwind doesn't matter, because they use it to be extra aggressive. And it's like, okay, be extra aggressive. I don't care. This is something you were telling me about. Treeborn in the deck baits out all the crows, which is great.
That happened like every time, didn't it?
I think so. I mean,
it's like you bring it in as a crow target.
Yeah, kind of. I didn't bring it in every matchup, but I would often bring in one, especially if I wanted to bring in the Mobiuses.
Well, I think that worked out okay there, because he's down to 3 cards, and all you lost was a Treeborn you could replenish.
Right. And I replaced it again. I do heavy there because I don't want him to have that value train going, and I have the True Nade if he has a real back row, and the My Body.
Right. Yeah, so you had an abundance of sweepers, so might as well just use those.
Right. I know I'm going to be able to out whatever back row he has. I'm not worried about it. Okay, so this is great for me because I have Caius, right? So I know I can out. Oh, especially because he grabs back Crow here, right? So he crows the other Treeborn, and I'm like, okay, I know I can out his entire board.
Right. You can be aggressive. Wow, in the board.
Right. Which is so strong. Okay. Drawing the fish board there meant that I had a better discard than Ocean. And now it's like, I have Caius, I have My Body.
Keep him off Vayu too.
Yep. And this is another case where I can set the My Body if I want, because there's no...
Treeborns are gone. Yeah.
Right. I think I decide to not, because I can't think of a card that he'll draw that will make me want to have it set.
Right, because it'd be like an Icarus, and then you just...
Right, and that's not live yet.
Oppression.
So I go in on him here. No fear of Mirror Force because of the My Body. Here, I just let that happen. I don't care.
Yeah.
The only card that I could care about would be Kalut. Since he only has one back row. Oh, here I try and bait out the Oppression because of that.
Yep.
So swap frog, if you tribute, or substitute, if you tribute a different monster, you can My Body, but if you tribute itself, you can't.
And so you can only My Body. You can only My Body if it was face down. So it's only this scenario.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. This is exactly what we were talking about. I'm so happy it finally happened.
Yeah. And it wins me the game here. This my body and being able to do it like that.
Right, yeah. Amazing.
I think weirdly, if he flips up the my body for the Fishborg, I don't have lethal there.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. If he
Yeah,
did
because
it, change it to the Fishborg.
Mhm. Well, that was a great
I mean,
one.
it wouldn't have mattered. I still would have outed the,
Yeah,
the
that's
Sirocco.
the
No problem.
transitional sideboard. Making moves, man. Holy cow. So 2
Yep.
Treeborns inside. That's incredible.
Yeah, I replaced what did I replace with it? I think Gores in the side
Okay.
with it. I don't have Gores in the side anymore. And I moved the second Treeborn to the side instead. And I put Unifrog in the main.
Perfect. Unifrog's my single
For
favorite frog.
Yeah. And he definitely came in clutch in some of these games.
Yeah.
I think he's worth it in there.
All right. Let's get on to the next one.